Okay, for this next question, if you just try to plug in 0 naively, then you get 0 on top, and cosine 0 being 1, you get 1 minus 1, so you also get 0 on top. So it's a 0 over 0 type indeterminate, meaning that we don't know what the limit is unless we do further investigation. One of the tricks that we learned in class is that when you see 1 minus cosine x, then you want to multiply the so-called conjugate. It's not really a conjugate, but if you see 1 minus cosine x, you want to multiply 1 plus cosine x. That was the trick. So we're going to multiply 1 minus cosine x, 1 plus cosine x. 1 plus cosine x is multiplying to the bottom. And whatever you choose to do the bottom, you have to treat the top in the same way by multiplying the same thing. So that's what we did. Now for the bottom one, we can use a minus b times a plus b equal to a squared minus b squared, the difference of two squares formula. And that gives you limit x going to 0. The bottom one now becomes 1 squared minus cosine squared of x. The top one is still 3x squared, 1 plus cosine x. Okay. Then you have to use the formula sine squared x plus cosine squared of x is 1, which means that if you move the cosine squared on the other side, 1 minus cosine squared of x is same as sine squared of x. So I can replace this by sine squared of x. Okay, that's as simplified as possible once I multiply 1 plus cosine x top and bottom. So now we have to think about what we can do. Now remember, limit of sine x over x, x going to 0 is equal to 1, right? So what would then be x over sine x where x goes to 0? Well, not so true. You can divide top and bottom by x, right? So if I do x over x, sine x over x, so you divide the top by x, divide the bottom by x. What's the top? 1. What's the bottom? 1. They both converge to 1, so what's the limit? 1. Okay?
So the reciprocal is always 1 as well?
Well, if some limit was, say, 5, the reciprocal should converge to 1 over 5, right? Yeah, so that's the same thing. I mean, I kind of did this formally, but if you think about it, it's kind of obvious. The limit is 1, so where does the reciprocal go closer and closer to? 1 over 1. Yeah. The reciprocal of 1 is 1 over 1, which is just 1. Okay? So that's what I'm going to use. And you probably already see it. If I break this down as 3 times x squared over sine x squared and 1 plus cosine x. These two are algebraically equivalent because whenever you multiply something to a fraction, you only get to multiply to the top, not to the bottom. So if you multiply these, you get back to the original thing, right? Now, why did I separate these from the rest? Well, because I know that this is same as saying x over sine x squared. So I know that this goes to 1. We just figured it out, right? So therefore we have 3 times, 1 times. When you plug in x equal to 0, what do you get? Cosine 0 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2. So the limit is 6.